Hey, everybody, we're here for the RLG cast, Ep.2, the new show replacing the old show, but it's still a show and it's yet to be named, but it is named. So here's Putty and here's JD. Today,
It-
we got a bunch of stuff that we're going to talk about, and it's going to get weird.
okay.
Let's start off with the elephant in the internet. The internet elephant.
The
It's
internet
the
elephant.
it's the Rick and Morty.
hmm
JD doesn't do
Oh,
much Rick and Morty, but at
I
least
have I have been watching. Like I
you've
haven't gotten.
dabbled.
I've dabbled. I've watched enough episodes that now I can understand. I understand the lore. I understand why people like this show so much. It did grow on me. I think I'm up to season. I just started season 4, so
well,
so I'm
I
getting there.
I I personally have last 3 seasons because I don't have like the cable influence to see it. I've actually just bought the seasons to where they're delivered to me that Sunday, so I can watch it that Sunday night or Monday, basically. Um, and so my whole thing to the situation is this: I'm apparently they're saying without Justin there. So I mean, we're explaining exactly what the situation
Yeah,
is, or
Justin
we're just
Roiland.
talking.
He was an allegation from a couple years ago of domestic abuse.
Mhm.
His charges were laid against him. He has not been found guilty, but the charges are laid, and that was enough for Warner Brothers and Warner Media and Squanch Games to cut all ties with
Yeah. So
Justin
and
Roiland,
he's cut out of everything.
even though he's co-owner of
His
Squanch
his
Games.
his lawyer is he's co-creator of Rick and Morty. He is
Yeah.
the creator of Solar Opposites,
Yep.
and he's a
Oh,
co-creator
yeah,
on
that's
Koala
gone
Man, and
now.
he's out of all of those now. He's also,
Jeez.
I believe, one of the producers of that show Little Evil or whatever it was called with
Mm,
the Danny DeVito was the devil.
yeah.
It's here's I just want to jump in and say this. I don't know about how they're gonna do it, but there's gonna be a ripple effect no matter what the situation.
I
There's gonna be a
agree.
ripple effect.
And so back to this. I mean, I'll absolutely not stick up for him in any way.
No.
I do think that should this be a true thing, he's a terrible, terrible,
Total
terrible
human being.
person.
Absolutely.
Um, but his lawyer right now is very convinced that there is absolutely zero evidence to prove that he did any of those things.
Well, it's
So
it's like the whole thing that happened with Chris Hardwick a few years ago,
yes, yes.
where the allegations came out against Chris Hardwick, which turned out to be completely fabricated.
But
But he had his career ruined.
I'm not gonna stick up for him until we know what happens. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
at the end of the day, he's not going to get the job back. There's no
No,
way. The
they'll
press
bring
is
him
too
back.
negative. There's no way he's getting picked up again.
Especially with
Especially with
Canada.
WB has been so
hmm
happily just cutting everyone. There's no way they're going to
But
pay
yeah,
him.
Ezra Miller's still there.
Hey, it is what it is. Ezra Miller only kidnapped a bunch of people and
My
assaulted
Groomed young
multiple
women.
teenage women.
I'm
Um,
just hoping the
through a
rest of the
chair
people
at
that are
one.
there have enough know-how of what his brain was when it came to making these characters and the voices, and because you can always get other voices that can do the inflections and do everything that you need for the
Yeah, but
character.
like we
But
No, no,
Campo
we
and I were
talked about
discussing
this.
that.
So
Yeah,
they've
we were
already been
discussing this last
showing.
night.
There's multiple Twitter um not polls,
but
what would you call it? Like petitions for certain people on the
Yeah.
internet that are really popular for doing the Rick and Morty voices to take over. However, I'm gonna stick with my original thing of what I said.
You said this
It's
the night of the Rumble
it's
at
like
my house. Yeah.
replacing Kevin Conroy. It's like replacing Seth MacFarlane. You just it's not the same. It's like replacing Dan Castellano as Homer
As Homer
Simpson.
Simpson.
that's what I'm trying to say.
People can
But see,
sound like it, but it's not that guy. And in my opinion, you should just end the show.
He is Rick Sanchez. Like the ad
yeah.
lib, the mannerisms. He is Rick Sanchez.
And that's
And
almost his real voice is Rick Sanchez.
And that's the problem I'm seeing is that not even just the voice, he had he was a creative path as far as like where the characters are
the
going in the
mannerisms
storyline.
and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and not having those two things, I feel like it's going to cause an effect.
Well,
And
he was a
that's
top
sad too, because
producer on the show. He was the
hmm
number 2 writer. He
With
was the
Dan Harmon, right?
co-creator. And he's the voice of all the most important people. So for him not to be there, it just seems sure you can replace his voice and I
Yeah.
will still watch the show, but I will not feel the same about it even if I rate it highly. I'll never have that same feeling, and it's not because I care about Justin Roiland. It's just you've created iconic characters. It's like recasting Back to the Future. You just don't do it.
Well, it's like what was a cartoon show a while ago? They replaced the voice actor and it just wasn't the same.
Oh, I was just okay, well, not that it just wasn't the same. But a perfect example of it was, Putty lost power.
Not lose power.
A perfect example of this situation was when they were going to bring back Futurama. You're not bringing back Futurama to get a new audience. You're not bringing Futurama back to do anything except give the fans that have been begging for it what they want. And when they didn't cast what's his name as Bender,
John
DiMaggio, they immediately was outraged. There was a 1 million person petition, and now he's back on the show. And I think even something as small as that, like people, that was my point. It's like, sure, you can replace the voice with someone who sounds like it, but nobody wants that new person.
No.
You don't replace Kevin Conroy. You just end the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been that's a poor example though. Even though Kevin Conroy is iconic as the voice of Batman, there have been other actors like Jensen Ackles does a very good Batman.
But in that specific series, if on the 3rd season they were like, "Well, Kevin Conroy can't do it. We're going to bring in a new guy," no one would feel the same about that, right? You know what I mean?
It's like a perfect example. Kevin Conroy did Arkham Asylum, then Arkham City, and then they brought in Troy Baker to voice him.
And Troy Baker's not bad, but it wasn't the same.
No, and in Arkham Origins, and there was a big uproar why it wasn't Kevin Conroy in Arkham Origins.
That is what it is. At the end of the day, like I said, I will watch the show. I might even like it still, but it's just
not going to be the same.
You're replacing the face of the franchise. This is a Han Solo swap. This is replacing Tony Stark with someone else who just kind of looks like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Antonio, his Senor Spielbergo from the
Simpsons. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like I said, the last season of Rick and Morty just finished. Oh, didn't just finish. It finished recently.
Season 6.
Putty,
that was
have
right.
You watched season 6?
Oh yeah, all the way through. Like I said, I got the episodes soon as they
came
out.
So what are your thoughts on season 6?
I like the way things are developing, but see, here's the thing: it's one of those catch-22s where they're like, you can tell they're tricking and they're having to put stuff in there. I feel like it's leading to something that's pretty cool. That's going to be a great storyline. But now, because of that, that's what I was concerned with Justin Roiland gone. I'm like, because I feel like this had a bigger impact because I feel like he had something in his own brain that he was ready to do, and I feel like now
I have a feeling story-wise, Justin Roiland is still going to be in communication with Dan Harmon.
You think so?
I think so.
Dan Harmon is going to take most of the writing credits, but a lot of it is going to be input from Justin Roiland without anybody.
I just think they're not going to give him a credit on it, and they're secretly going to pay him with like they're going to set up a thing for like an assistant salary, and then that it's just really going to get paid to Justin Roiland, and there won't be an actual assistant, and they're just doing this for like face value. Like he can't go to the building, he can't work there, but they're still going to pay him, and he's still going to do like help the show. Because I even with all this stuff that happened, I still can't imagine that his friends who believe that he's innocent are just going to be like, "Oh, can't hang out with you anymore."
Yeah,
we're
right.
Not friends anymore.
That is what it is, right? Like, forget about him. But the new season of Rick and Morty, I think, if it's not the best season, it's tied for the best season. It's the best complete storytelling they've ever done, and it's the only season since I want to say season 3 that from episode 1 to 10 there's an actual arc.
Okay.
Season 4 and 5 it starts off with a story and ends with a story, and all 7 episodes in the middle are just filler. Not that they're bad, some of them are great, but they don't pertain to the story that is being told. They're one-off storylines.
That's what I enjoyed about the first 3 seasons. There's this overtying arc over everything.
Yeah, and 4 and 5 completely loses that, and 6 gets it back, and it's the strongest they've ever done it. I think the way that the character development is so good in season 6. Like I said, if it's not the best season, it's tied for the best season probably.
Okay. And what makes it so great too is I feel like it has a lot of justifiable ways of like switching you on your head kind of situation, like saying like, you know, you're not expecting this and there's a reason for it. Does that make sense?
I think I gave it an 8.9 when I scored this season, so I really enjoyed it. What I'm really sad about is not just Rick and Morty, because I feel like Rick and Morty can survive regardless if I want
Solar
it to or
Opposites
not.
is gone.
Solar Opposites is not going to survive. I can't imagine that,
That's
but
sad.
there, from what I saw, and you can search this on the internet and prove me wrong if you want, that's fine, because I'm not the knower of all things. But I believe the new season is already done. So I think that Hulu is still going to release the fourth season,
Okay.
and then
But
they'll
they're going
take
to
it
cut
from
his
there.
name out of everything?
I don't think they'll even cut his name out. I think they're just going to release this, and then because he already got paid for this, right?
Yeah.
They've already put all the money into this, and it's on a streaming service. So what's the point of not releasing it? You barely do any advertising for the show anyways. You
Yeah.
can release it and get the views you're going to get and let the show end, or you can just hold on to it and you wasted all your money.
Which it's just funny too, because that's actually what the Solar Opposites is. It's a good show that deserves its own light. The problem is, it's only Rick and Morty fans that know it exists because of that whole not much marketing that they've been
And
doing
he
for it.
does almost all of the work on it.
Yeah, so like my thing is I'm sad for that because I would have loved to have a universe where Rick and Morty go to that.
Like
I
the
like to keep
crossover?
it in the same
Yeah.
universe. So I just ripped that out of my ear. I
Yeah.
was talking to some people. I did my review for it, so I don't know if any of you have seen Koala Man.
No.
No, not yet. No.
Koala Man's fine. It has a lot of potential to be good. I think this season was a little bit messy, and it doesn't fully hit all its notes, but it has like Hugh Jackman's in it for the whole show. There's a lot of famous Australian comedians in it. It really leans into being Australian.
Crikey.
Okay.
So if you appreciate that kind of comedy, you'll like it. And it's kind of like a new feeling because you don't always get mainstream Australian type comedies in this market.
Right.
So it's right there for everyone to watch. It's a good watch. It's nothing special, but I look at that and the kind of comedy it has and the visuals because the drawing, right? Like the animation. And Rick and Morty, Solar Opposites, and Koala Man all have basically the same animation and the same style of world, everything. And I think that all three shows take place in the same
Universe.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like Simpsons, Futurama, and Disenchanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yes. Where they're all there because Futurama is in the future of The Simpsons. Like it's not
Yes.
even a different universe. And Disenchanted, I don't know if that's a different universe or not.
Could be
But
the past
it would be in the same general idea.
realm.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's how I like to view it. You know, it's like if you like this show, you have this
You'll
show
like
and
this
this
show.
show to watch. And
Yeah.
that's how I like to consume things, right? It's like, well, if you like Mad About You, it crosses over with Seinfeld, well,
Yep.
which is good, and then that crosses over with the Ray Romano or whatever, you know, like
Hey, everybody.
you know what I'm talking about. Like that I like those elements of shows where you can be
Yeah.
like, this is just an extension of this.
Or like Ray Romano with what's his name? King of Queens
King
there.
of Queens, that's what I
Yep.
meant.
Yeah.
But it's like if you like this show, here's an extension. It's basically the same thing.
Frasier, Cheers.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And if you like Solar Opposites and Rick and Morty, it's worth checking out Koala Man. It's not
Okay.
gonna
I
you're
will
not
now.
gonna be amazed, but you won't be upset.
Like, it's not, you know me, I'm gonna like it no matter
And
what
it has
because
Hugh
I'm
Jackman
pretty.
and
Huge
Hugo
Matt
That's
Weaving.
one too.
But yeah, so we'll move on from this.
So
I think.
how about this? Do you mind if I bring something
Yeah,
in?
go ahead.
Sure.
So I actually my horror movie viewing has changed where I actually saw two movies within the last month or so that I'm actually happy I saw both of them, and I'm wondering if either one of you guys have seen them, and that is Smile and Megan. I just saw Megan the other night, and Smile. I had mixed feelings when I first saw the trailer and the thought of it, but then I actually liked the way it turned out and everything, and I like the approach that Blumhouse is going when it comes to their horror movies. Like I feel like we're in the right direction to where stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's are actually going to turn out to be a good movie. And I'm wondering what you guys think. Have you seen these movies, and what do you think about that whole situation?
Smile is next on my list. I have not seen Megan. I'm a little far behind on catching up on movies. I haven't watched a lot lately just because like there's just so much. I mean, the most recent movie I watched is Last Night in Soho, and it's like not even like that's an old movie at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen Megan. I'll watch it eventually. I heard it's fine. So I've seen Smile. I really like Smile. I think it definitely was far better than what the trailers look like, and the viral marketing thing that they went for was excellent. The movie itself has a lot of really good elements. I think I gave it like a 7. My issue with it is it tries too hard to be like the Japanese horror movies. Like it really, really
Yeah.
tries to be The Ring. It's trying so hard to be The Ring. Mind
I
you,
feel
it
what
does
you're
a
saying
good
there.
job.
Yeah.
But the cop out ending, where I'm not going to give spoilers, but I felt like the ending was a cop out. They should have just let it
I
go
see
the
what you're
way
saying.
you thought it was going to go. And
Okay.
but it was a good movie. I generally liked it. And I mean, Blumhouse has been doing well. You had Black Phone, which came out this year as well, which was
I want to see
excellent.
that. Okay, I'm gonna
Vengeance,
watch it.
which is like a mystery thriller, that was really good. I mean, mind you, they did Halloween Ends and Firestarter, but
What, the worst movie?
but they have some good stuff. Like I believe they're doing the remake of The Exorcist. There's a new Insidious movie coming out. I see that. Yeah, they're
Okay.
doing the remake of The Exorcist. They're doing the new Insidious. House of Spoils looks all right. Totally Killer, that looks really good. And then, like Putty said, they're doing Five Nights at Freddy's. It's it could be good.
Okay.
I'm a little more optimistic, is what I'm trying to say.
But
Here's my thing.
Blumhouse, think of it this way. Five Nights at Freddy's was never going to get a major studio release.
No.
So at least with Blumhouse, even though it's going to be a smaller movie, it's going to have money behind it, so it won't look like trash. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
Yep.
going to
Yeah.
have some kind of money behind it. Because if that movie's going to cake at the box office. And a
Yeah.
regular horror movie, you're looking at like a $20 million budget to make like a really quality like Scream. But obviously Scream is more because it's visually filmed really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 20K. With a movie like that, you throw 40 million, or sorry, 20 million. You throw 40 million behind it, 45 million, it's gonna make over 60 million.
Yeah.
So as long
Yeah.
as you keep your marketing to like a smart amount, do viral marketing again with Five Nights
Yeah.
at Freddy. The game's already its own marketing.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you do something to implement something in the game, like if they were to bring out something as, hey, here's a bonus thing for people to play, what's going to happen is you're going to make a ripple effect where you have channels like Game Theory and everything that are going to be promoting this.
Well, Game Theory is going to promote that no matter what.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
With
Yeah, exactly.
when they release the home version of the movie, like for example, when it comes to Blu-ray, whatever, smart thing would be to include a digital code on Steam for the first game.
Yeah, because that game's already are like $2 on Steam. I think the first game.
So they're not losing any money by including a digital code in the DVD.
And you can get people to start playing the game that haven't played.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Get a fresh audience in the game.
Yeah,
that's where you start from the beginning, because then they play the first one and go, oh, I want to play the second one.
Speaking of horror movies, Putty, you should watch X.
Okay.
Because it's turned into a trilogy. Pearl also came out last year. I really liked Pearl. And then the third movie called Maxine is coming out early this year. So
give me all these. Give me those three and the one you said earlier, if you can go as in the list, because I'm gonna go back and watch.
And they're quick watches.
Maxine Dupree.
Yeah, Maxine Dupree. Rene Dupree is actually on the DDT roster.
Oh, is he really? He's still around?
I think it's Noah. I think he's on Noah.
Noah?
But yeah.
I digress.
The horror world, and a lot of people disagreed with me about this. So there was a really good movie last year, Speak No Evil or See No Evil. Speak No Evil.
No, See No Evil is that movie with Kane. That was bad.
A really good like a Swedish or Danish movie. I can't not remember.
Okay.
I had a really good time. It was very subversive. I did not there's no way you're thinking this movie's going where it's going. And there's so much tension. But a lot of it's like a very more indie
Danish.
Yeah, it's a more indie movie that goes across the circuit of like festivals rather than being like a box office type of movie, right?
Right.
And people were like, "Oh, this year there wasn't that many of those other than that, like a couple other ones." They're like, the last couple years we've been getting a lot of these like cool indie ones like Lamb and Witch and Lighthouse, stuff like that, right? But this year, if you're looking at tentpole, like releasing at the shittiest time of the year horror movies, last year, 2022 was an excellent year for tentpole horror movies.
Yeah, it's true.
Hellraiser was pretty solid. I mean, it was nothing special. Scream was really good. Fresh was really good. Smile, Smile was good, Pearl was good,
the
X
Black
was
Phone.
good, Black Phone was good. Like all the big
And see, I
tentpole
believe
horror
Megan
movies were
is
coming out
falls in that
banging.
same thing too. And I feel Megan is the same thing. Here's the thing. I'll give you guys
Barbarian was great.
I'll give you guys like just the simplest review. Megan is one of those movies that it brings back what I felt about Child's Play, where it brings you into a new world and you know something's going to go bad no matter what. But what makes it so great is you're sitting there picking things apart and going, oh, there's lore here. They're setting up something bigger. And when that stuff comes in, you become intrigued and sucked into the story. And that's what Megan really does a good job.
That's why we're getting Megan 2.0.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
it's already announced.
Well, believe me, go look at the movie and you'll see why.
I'm going to watch it.
Eventually
that's an exact movie I'll watch. It's a fun, dumb slasher horror movie that combines Chucky and like the Terminator. That's like two of my favorite things. So I'm not going to be upset by that.
But yeah, and see the thing is, you also brought up the whole thing with Independent, and I haven't seen it, but I really want to see the Whale, because the whole outburst of Brendan Fraser's like part in that, like everyone's talking about how great it is. I need to give it a chance. And
so I have not seen it, but I know many people that have. Apparently, the movie is nothing special. It's like a 6. But Brendan Fraser's performance is fantastic. That's like what the hype is about. It's all about his performance in the movie.
Yeah.
Because the actual movie is like apparently just fine.
But
okay. I mean, it's not going to win movie of the year. He's probably going to win best actor.
Well, good on him then.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm happy. I want the Renaissance to continue.
Yeah.
I'm also living for what's next, which is the Leguizamo-sance. Because also speaking of horror movies, I just watched The Menu and it was so fun.
Okay,
Putty, did you watch The Menu?
I want to see it so badly because people are talking
He's
about it.
He's so good in it. Also, another quasi horror action movie, Leguizamo's in that was really good. Was Violent Night.
I don't want to do any spoilers, but I just got to ask: is it as predictable as it seems? As far as the line, like what they're doing.
It's not as predictable as it seems, but it will still be predictable, but it plays into that. The whole movie is a satire on itself. Like,
really?
It's a satire on class and like economics and politics, as well as making fun of itself for the entire movie.
But you know where I'm going. Like,
when you see it, you're going to be like, what the hell? And it's like, it's a really good play on that. Like, I gave it a decent score. Also, what was the other one I said? Violent Night. I mean, I didn't score it too high, but it was a really fun movie. And Leguizamo and David Harbour playing together off each other in like this die-hard dynamic was so good. It was so much fun. Like, I really want Leguizamo to make a big comeback. That was two good performances by him.
Okay, I'll have to
Leguizamo. He'll come back as clown in the new Spawn film.
I would be down.
I thought he was excellent in the last Spawn.
He was
the reason Spawn was good in my eyes.
Let's
honestly.
talk about Spawn.
So here's my thing. I want to say this real quick. I actually I've been playing Midnight Suns. I'm apparently when I get to
you understand what I was trying to say now about how you're not going to play as Deadpool from the.
I'm so mad because apparently I looked up online. I have to unlock Spider-Man first, and when I get to him, I have to do some mission, and that's going to unlock Deadpool. So I'm still playing it on the weekdays, but. I noticed that what's his name that plays Spawn in the original movie. He does the voice of Blade in that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. It was so cool.
Is it Gary Anthony? Who played him? Michael Jai White?
Yeah, Michael Jai White.
It was Michael Jai White.
Yeah. So it's funny you bring that up because I just heard his voice recently and I thought of Spawn and went down that whole path because here's my thing.
I really hope they release a 4K of Spawn. I'm totally buying it.
Right? But here's my thing. I would love for them to go down an Image universe. I would love for them to do something like that and go down that road.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We talked about the last one. Yeah,
I think, but the Spawn universe on its own is very in depth.
Oh, yeah,
there's a lot to unpack there, and then not to mention you can bring back all the other characters like Wildcats and like there's so much stuff that Image has to like go.
Savage. We talked about that Savage Dragon.
Yeah, Savage Dragon.
Well, this is the thing. Wildcats is Image. So how does DC have Grifter?
Well, that might be the same situation why Marvel has the Spawn character Evangeline. Remember that whole situation? I think it's based on the creative control of the person that has it or something like that, or they sell it. I think it's one of those situations.
Or maybe because I wanted to call him Jason Lee. What's the guy?
Lee.
Jim, maybe because Jim Lee created it and he's there, so he was allowed to bring. He owns the rights to the character. But that was the whole thing about Image, right? Everyone owns whatever they create at Image.
Yeah.
so they can move them wherever they want to.
But like Spawn specifically, we're excited for this to be a
Yeah.
movie, right?
Yes.
I am.
Oh yeah.
Like the prospect of it turning out well, this could be
This needs to be a
fantastic.
hard R, violent as
Mhm.
hell movie, like not the soft violent that was the latest Hellboy.
But what they need to do,
Yeah,
they
that
need to
movie
sit
sucked.
down and go look at all the old animated HBO shows and all the old comics and understand that not just violence and all that as a part of the story. It's they got to understand that there's more character to Spawn when it comes to character, because you're talking
Yeah,
about a
Spawn's
guy
depth is
that,
crazy.
yes, and you have to understand not even just his depth, but like what he's dealing with all these.
There's a reason why he's doing what he's doing.
And the thing is too, though, in the beginning, he doesn't know that he's that guy. He slowly figures out, like, that's my wife. Why is she here?
Yeah.
Like, who am I? And then, like, it builds into this whole thing. I mean, the Spawn anime, the HBO Spawn anime, I have the DVD set. It's so good. It's on HBO Max. I recommend anyone go check that out. It's so good. It's so hardcore. Keith David as Spawn is, like, spot on. Keith David is so good at voice acting that he just has that voice, you know? Shout out to season 6 of Community.
Shout out to Saints Row 4, where Keith David and Roddy Piper had recreated their epic fight.
Yeah, you did.
But see, that's another thing too. Sorry, I feel like I got off track of that, but that's another thing is that I'm afraid, and this is where the fear comes in, is that when they finally go to do it, even if Todd McFarlane is there, I feel like he's so much now in the business point of things instead of being the whole storyline, that he's actually not the right person to be really.
But I think Todd McFarlane would also be smart enough to hire a good script writer.
No, of course, that's my point. Though we would need that great one, and I'm afraid that they're gonna be like, oh, it's not gonna sell, and he's just gonna fold. You know, I mean, don't fold. I need this. We need this to be the thing. The reason why we read the comic in the first place or watched the HBO anime series. I'm just saying. I was a big fan, and because you gotta remember, there's such dark things. The whole thing with there's gonna be things you can't tackle because they would be way too dark, but to get that close would make people go, whoa, and be like, they'll look at stuff like Sin City and be like, dude, that's tame compared to what Spawn brings to the table. You know what I mean?
You know what? One that we forgot, just quick shout out, Bodies for the horror movies. I don't know if either of you saw it.
I've not seen it yet.
Such a good movie. I sent you a list, Putty, on Instagram for 2022 horror movies, so you could check that whenever you want. But
going back to what you're saying, sorry, Putty, about the Midnight Sun. So, now that you've played it a bit, what's your impression? Because
I'm
I want to know what
really liking it. It has that very XCOM feel.
It's very much a strategy game, yeah.
But I will say this: I am starting to see one thing a little bit that does scare me. I haven't gotten to too many major boss battles, and I feel like I'm already seeing like there's going to be a little bit of a grindy, and I don't like that when it comes to games where it has the same characters over and over. So we'll see. I've only done 2 streams of it, and I'm still waiting to get to Spider-Man. So we'll see.
Yeah. And speaking of which, if you don't mind me transitioning to that while we're on it, Crystal Dynamics just announced they're shutting down Marvel's Avengers, and they're giving away all the DLC for free.
After everybody paid for all of it.
Yes. So basically, they're going to release 2 more patches, from what I understand.
No, I get it. I'm a little bit pissed because I bought that shit.
Yeah, so did everyone else.
So did everybody else.
That's what the outrage is about. Because they announced they were shutting down, and everyone was like, okay, whatever. And then I think it was yesterday or the day before, they're like, yeah, we're shutting down and we're releasing everything for free.
For free. They were giving you everything, all the skins. I literally just went out, bought a cheap $8 copy for the PS4 just so I can have the Spider-Man for free now.
I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to buy the game just to get all the DLC for free.
I literally got the thing just to make sure I would get that early on, like when it first came out.
By the way, I think also on the PlayStation Store, it's on sale for really cheap, the actual game. It's like half price.
Well, it doesn't matter. I don't play it anymore.
Hey, you know what, Putty? You bought it when you bought it, right? I do that all the time. Me and my brother buy game day release all the time, and you lose out. You buy a FIFA, hockey, basketball. By Christmas time, it's already half price on the sales. Well, so it's like,
if you have Game Pass, they're free.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, I get it. I understand your pain. Don't worry.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I think that's very much an underhanded thing to do.
It is. It is very. Speaking of games, we'll stay on games for a bit. I'm so absolutely jacked for Diablo. Like, I don't think you truly understand.
Diablo 4.
Like, I need you to get it on PC, Putty, so we can all play together,
Play.
because I really don't want to play on a console.
I mean, I'm down to get it and try it out and everything. I just won't be able to stream that kind of stuff, so that's definitely just gonna be a
Hey,
fun
you
thing.
won't be able
Yeah.
to stream it, but you're gonna have a freaking good time.
You're gonna have a
playing.
great time.
That grind when you're playing with people is so much fun.
Well, yeah, I used to do it all the time when I was back when the old
But I'm
Diablos
saying, and you haven't done it recently, right?
No,
and
of course
I
not.
forgot what it felt like, because after Diablo 3, I didn't play one for so long. Then when I got Diablo 2 remastered on PlayStation 5, it was like this whole thing, and I still hadn't played with anybody. And then when I started playing with my buddy Danny, we were like, it was so much fun, because it's like you're just doing this grind together. Oh, we got to beat all 5 acts all over again. Oh, they're all over again. Oh, new characters now. Let's start.
And then you got to do it in what's that extra after you max level? You got to do it in you max.
Yeah, you do something normal, nightmare, hell, and then whatever the last.
Yeah. There's like 5 tiers you got to do it in.
The good thing about the PC version,
legacy
is the
mode,
online community is there for you to play with, right? On the on console, there is no online community. It's just you and whoever you're playing with, and that's it. You can't just join public games.
And what I like about Diablo 2, you won't find the griefers. You won't find. It's a very inclusive community in Diablo. They'll be willing to play with anybody.
It is. And if you're in with people, you can choose to go into the PK zone or not, right? You don't have to enter into the area where you can fight each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Diablo 4.
Diablo. Looking forward to that. I'm
going to build a PC soon, so.
All right. I think mine can handle it.
Yeah, I think yours can handle it too. I think you could play 2 discs at the same time of Diablo.
Well, as we're recording this, I'm actually I just finished exporting my file. So
it took that long?
No, but I mean,
hey, it finished right. It took that long. Everyone knows his computer sucks. Write that down in your books.
The fact that I was able to do them both at the same time.
Yeah. I can't.
No.
I'm also using a really crappy laptop. But, even though there's an Apple computer like right here.
Right there.
But yeah, that is what it is.
I think that's it. Else? I mean, I'm looking forward. I am looking forward to the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy. I know there's a lot of community backlash on it right now because of like some transphobic comments that J.K. Rowling said.
She always makes stupid comments.
But the thing is, J.K. Rowling has nothing to do with this game.
Yeah, forget about her for a second.
Just because it's her, like I know she understands. She's part of that wizarding world.
But the fact that you can pick
your house,
you can pick your house, you can pick whether to be a dark character or a light character in terms of
it has very Star Wars-esque vibes to it. Yeah,
it reminds me of like playing Lineage back in the days where you chose to be lawful or unlawful. And people would know. People in the online community, when you're playing with them, will know you're a bad person. Stay away from this person because their name's Red or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like Star Wars, like what was the Jedi game where when you were a Sith person, people knew you were
Knights
bad.
of the Old Republic.
Yeah, people knew you were bad because
the Old Republic.
Red.
Yeah,
your name was in red.
The online one, the Old Republic. I still boot that up from time to time.
Yeah, people knew you were a griefer because your name was red, and they're like, okay, don't mess with this person.
Yeah,
that was the fun part about that kind of stuff, is being in the dark side, because you're like, I'm a badass. Walk away. There's just this fun. I'm just
yeah, I know. So, Old Republic was good. Old Republic was good. Any word on the old Knights of the Old Republic remake?
I heard
it's in limbo again.
Yeah, I heard they removed the creators out of the project.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true. Is that
Aspire Entertainment? I think it was.
Yeah,
they're out.
They took the girl that never had played the game that was creating it.
Sam Meggs.
Yeah. So hey man, I was really looking forward to getting a new Knights.
Yeah. And Ubisoft
delayed. Just got so sad there. We just broke his heart.
Ubisoft was supposed to release Skull and Bones next month. Now they gave a window of April 1st, 2023 to March 30th, 2024.
Okay, so take this one in. We've been hearing about Fight Forever, AEW Fight Forever for over a year. It was supposed to come out in the end of this summer. It got delayed until Christmas this year. We were like, okay, it said, I was looking on Amazon, December 22nd, or sorry, December 23rd, 2022. I was like, okay, maybe I should pre-order this, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to drop $70 right now. I'll wait. I waited, I waited, I waited. It got to near Christmas. I'm like, oh, is it? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna buy it today and play it. I go look, December 23rd, 2023.
2023.
It got
Good
delayed an
Lord.
entire year. It's
So it
based on the
was.
same game engine as a Nintendo 64 game, but somehow they haven't. It's not
So
ready.
I think the reason for that is because WWE announced 2K23 coming out in May.
So they want to delay for a bit
I don't
until
think they
everyone
want to
gets
release it at
tired
the
of
same,
playing
because
that.
normally WWE 2K releases in October, but we didn't get an October release this year.
Apparently, 2K23 is going to have a whole bunch of new mechanics.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, 2K22 was definitely better than 2K20.
Oh yeah.
2K20
I
was
just
just a
remember
broken
watching
mess.
Steve play 2K20 and it was such a disaster.
Yeah.
But I don't know, we might all have to get that game too.
Yeah.
Play it like it because it's like
Well-
WCW versus NWO Revenge, right? Or
that
No
was
Mercy.
a classic. Classic. Fire Pro. Let's all play Fire Pro.
I want to play Fire Pro.
But yeah, I think that's all I got for in terms of gaming stuff. Anybody else got anything they want to add to that?
Does anyone have anything, period?
I think
Nothing
I'm
else at
good.
the moment. There's nothing really fresh that I can talk about that I think that's gonna be coming up. We got, I mean, Ant-Man Quantumania, we talked in the last one. So we
Yeah.
have that
We'll wait till we
upcoming.
watch it and then we'll talk
Yeah,
about
then
it.
we'll
And
do
then,
the
of course,
review. We'll do our review for it.
And then, of course, Mandalorian's new season's coming out. So there's stuff on the horizon. But I think
Last
it's
of
more
Us.
like,
has anybody caught up on the Last of Us yet?
I've
haven't
only seen the
watched it.
first episode. I've only seen the first episode, but I love it.
I've seen the first two, and
I heard
They-
episode 3 is the best one.
the one that just aired this
Yeah.
past Sunday.
They gave it a bunch of reviews came out from like the review pages.
So what I really like is how like they are staying faithful to the game, but adding their own, like some of the scenes are recreated from the game shot for shot.
Yeah,
I've heard,
I
yeah.
saw a bunch of it on IGN where it's exactly the same.
But they're adding more to it. They're
giving it
adding
more
more
depth.
lore.
They're adding more depth to the story.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying that one. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I agree. I haven't played the game, and I want to play the game, but well, I was going to say this.
The first game is better than the second. 100%.
I'd rather watch the show because I felt like the game wasn't even really a game.
Well,
So-
let me just put this in there. Everyone's talking about a certain scene that happens in the show that apparently happened in the game that I don't want to speak of spoilers, but I'm just going to say I think I know what scene they're talking about. And the thing is I do want to experience it in the game, but I'm so used to being the person that's seen the stuff or read the thing, been a part of that because everything's been mass produced again.
Yeah.
Again, you know what I mean, when it comes to things. So of course we're at that age where we basically have seen this in some other form.
Well, I mean, they've only
We have an
re-released The Last of Us 3 times.
Yeah. But that's the one thing I haven't done. I haven't played the game yet. And so I like that I have it now because as I'm watching this, it's become enjoyable. But it now makes me want to play the game, but I want to play it in those segments so I could just see the opposite end. Instead of playing the game to the movie, now playing the movie to the game.
It's in the game, there's a lot more. Get ready. If you want to play, get ready for a lot of crafting. There's a lot of crafting in the game.
Sounds like a Fallout game. So
no, more than Fallout.
Really? Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, more than Fallout. There's a lot of crafting in the game.
That makes sense, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the first episode.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, well, that's it. We're ending this here. Guys, thank you for watching. Let us know if you like The Last of Us in the comments below, and tell us if you like Putty spinning Boba Fett. Yeah, we'll be back. Episode 3 next week. Peace out.
Twirling.
Beep, beep, beep.